Hello and welcome to my little home recording area. I'm here with my friend Daniel. I'm going to be showing you some of my guitar gear and all of the stuff that I've been using to record the guitars, especially on my last EP. It's called Alien Vacation. Just want to say thanks to Ryan from the Pyre Records family for having me on. So let's start by having a look at my guitars. So this one is a Tokai Love Rock. It's basically a budget knockoff of a Gibson Les Paul Special. It's got the two P90s in it. I call it the Super B because it's got a lot of muscle and it's yellow. So yeah, this guitar is it's not the highest quality guitar, but I think it sounds good for rock and roll. Okay, so next up, this is my other go-to guitar. This is my Fender Telecaster. This is one of those Ventura series Fenders, so it's like a 50s style Telecaster, but with a little bit of a hotter set of pickups and this S1 switching, so you can, I don't know exactly what it does. I think it does switches the phasing. I don't know. I just click the button and see what sounds good, really. But I use these two guitars basically as a pair. So, often I will just stack them on top of each other. I think they complement each other well. Even though I play most of the time in the bridge position, I just think they stack well on top of each other. Those two, the P90s. And this, I think this is a Fender custom shop 50s pickup. And this is a twisted telly neck pickup, I think. But yeah, I just put it on the bridge most of the time and just start blasting, and then stacked on top of that Les Paul copy, it sounds real good. So this is my really basic pedal board. This is what I would use if I play live gigs most of the time. I like to keep it simple and clean, just starting out with the tuner, of course, just to play in tune as much as I possibly can, and then go straight into the compressor. Now, when I'm recording stuff, I would usually not use that at all. I would just go straight past that and only use compression way far down down the line. So next up, I would go to the Tube Screamer Mini. This is basically just the small, again, the budget version of the real McCoy. But I think it does the job. It just adds a bit of grain and a little bit of dirt to my signal. But I get a lot of that anyway from my amplifier, so I often just use this as kind of a booster going into the amp. And then next to that, going into also a mini version of a fuzz face. I have everything just set in the middle on there, but I normally pump up the volume and the fuzz a little bit for really fuzzy bits. I don't really use that for any rhythm parts. I use this for lead parts, really. Just to cut through and poke out. And then finally, the Blue Ocean Delay. This is a Chinese clone pedal of I think it's supposed to be a clone of a Mad Professor Deep Blue. So all the lawyers out there can start suing. But this is basically just a cheap Kaolin copy of that. But it sounds, it does the job. It sounds quite good. I would just basically use this for very little bit of slapback, stuff like that. If I play live, I would kick that in on a chorus here or there, a lead part. But also when I'm recording, I wouldn't use this at all. I would just, do all of that stuff way down the line. I wouldn't want any wetness on that signal. And that's really all I would use. So let's go to some of my pedals that are not on the board. So, normally for all the guitars I record, they're completely dry. The signal is completely dry, but here and there you might hear a surfy guitar lead or a solo. So this is what I would use for that. Again, this is a kind of a budget version to get that drippy Fender reverb sound. So this would, I guess, try to simulate the 63 Fender reverb tank. So if you don't have access to one of those, these do a pretty fine job. It's just a little bit harsh. So you might need to mess around a little bit with some settings and maybe just roll off some of the treble because this can get quite icy. But, if you don't have a Fender reverb tank, this is quite good. Yeah, so this is just a really fun pedal. It's
it's kind of like junk shoppy in a way. And I wouldn't really use it for any main guitar parts that I record ever. But if you want any kind of trashy sound or kind of sound, this is actually great. So this is basically just an emulation of like a tape delay kind of deal. But it's all obviously like in a pedal. There's no tubes or anything in here, but it looks cool. You can slide for your delay times and switch between like a tube sound and a solid state sound. It even has like a wobble setting to add a little bit of weirdness to your signal. And then you can roll this up or down to like darken the repeats a little bit. So yeah, like I said, this is kind of like a junk shop type of pedal. Like I wouldn't use this for like any serious main guitar part on a song, but if you've got like a lead part or like some wacky little intro solo or something, this is great. Okay, so after we come out of the pedal board, we go straight into this bad boy. This is a Fender Champ, Silverface from 1976. And yeah, there's not much going on this amp. Like, it's very simple, but I really love this amp. It's tiny. It's like 5 watts. It's got a replacement speaker in it, a Weber speaker. It's not got the stock speaker in it anymore. But yeah, it's basically just got 3 knobs, volume, treble, bass. And the more you crank it, the better it sounds. That's really all there is to say about these amps. But they sound amazing. A lot of people, I think, use them to record. And so there's no secret behind it. They just sound great. Like, the louder you turn them up, the better they start sounding. Like, they start like really compressing and clipping a little bit and like flattening out. And just they have a lot of punch. And so a lot of the guitar parts that you hear on my songs, like, will be recorded with this, or like doubled with this at least. And yeah, I think it sounds great. It's the best amplifier I've ever had. So I just want to show you some of the cool picks that I've collected. I don't have a huge collection of like memorabilia, but so when my brother and I think I actually told Ryan the story maybe the previous time I spoke to him in an interview. But I went to visit my brother in the States like 10 years ago. And we went to Los Angeles and saw Steel Panther. And at that show, we were throwing out picks. And then one of the guys in the band threw out this pick, which is like a wasp pick. I don't know why they had a wasp pick, but this was thrown out there. It might have been on the stage, like maybe Wasp played there at some time and someone threw this pick out, but I thought it was kind of cool to have a wasp pick. And then later that night, the bass player from Steel Panther, Lexi, I think his name is, he threw out one of these. It's quite a thin pick for a bass player, which is strange. And I think my brother caught this one and gave it to me. And then, got another. This one I got at a Bowling for Soup show. Bowling for Soup came here to Cape Town, I think like 5 years ago. They played at a quarry. It was kind of sweet. And, yeah, me and my friend went to go see them. And I think like someone was actually cleaning the grounds after they played. And then we were like literally like on the ground looking for picks that had fallen down, and the guy who was like sweeping the area had like one, and then he was like cool enough to like give it to me. He gave it to me. And then finally we got the Holy Grail, the Pick of Destiny, the Weezer pick. I got this, my brother's girlfriend at the time, she went to see, I don't remember what, it might have been a Lollapalooza or something, I don't know, but Weezer was there. They threw this out. I don't know if it was Rivers or Brian, I don't know, but I got this pick, and I normally keep it with all my other Weezer stuff. Got like a whole collection of Weezer stuff, and I keep it in there, but I thought it was cool to show. So thanks for having a look at some of my gear. I hope I could show you something interesting about the way that I get my guitar sounds. And thank you to Ryan again from Pi Records for having me on the channel. And yeah, please look out for my new vinyl. It's going to come out on Otitis Media Records. It will be called Alien Vacation by the Cudas. And yeah, just look out for that.